The movie starts in 1990, and shows a kid, Christopher Green, taking a test, while his family watches. Apparently, this test took Einstein 3 days to complete, but Christopher is able to ace it, in a short period. After the test, his sister, Michelle, is excited for him, and tells him that he could change the world when he goes to college soon. He says he doesn't want to do this without her around, but she assures him that they'll always be connected. He explains how it's possible, according to quantum physics, for particles to stay linked long after coming in contact. They have a special handshake they do together, which they got from Christopher's favorite cartoon, Kid Cosmo. On a TV program, a presenter sits down with Ethan Skate, the founder of Center Technologies. It is explained that the robots were initially developed by Walt Disney to promote the opening of his theme park in 1955, and were later put into mass production. They quickly became the backbone of the global workforce, taking on jobs that humans didn't want to do. However, after some years, they grew tired of working tirelessly for humans, and wanted lives of their own. The robots, led by Mr. Peanuts, launched protests for their rights, which escalated from peaceful demonstrations to violent conflicts, eventually leading to a war between humans and robots. The government declared that any human harboring a robot would be charged with treason. But the robots were stronger, faster, they didn't eat, sleep, or even blink. For 2 years, the war raged on, and the robots were winning, until Ethan Skate stepped in. He created the Neurocaster, a device that linked the human mind to drone bodies. In this way, humans had the workforce of robots, but retained human control. As a result, humans won the war in just a few weeks. Mr. Peanuts signed a treaty of surrender with the president and Ethan Skate. The drones imprisoned about 6,000 robots in Center's exclusion zone. After the war, Ethan Skate improved the technology of the Neurocaster. It now allowed the mind to be in 2 places at once. It could both work and play simultaneously. In 1994, Michelle is in her latest foster home, trying to get rid of an ankle monitor, yet again, before heading to school. Everyone uses a Neurocaster in class, except for her, which lands her in the principal's office. There, she reveals that her family members didn't die as a result of the war, but rather because their car hit a deer. This memory saddens her, and she goes home, heading straight to bed. She wakes up to a strange noise outside, and goes to investigate, only to find a robot. She tries to hide, but the robot finds her under her bed, and tells her he doesn't want to hurt her. He can't speak, but he uses pre-recorded sounds from the Kid Cosmo robot to tell her that he is her brother, the one who supposedly died. She doesn't believe him, until he shows her their special handshake. Michelle drags her brother's picture with the robot and ended up pushing it to the ground. The loud sound wakes up Michelle's foster father Ted, who is so angry seeing a robot in their house, knowing what the government does to anyone harboring a robot. Ted tries to report them to the cops, but they tase him, and Michelle and Christopher flee. They find a safe place to regroup, and figure out their next steps. Michelle discovers that her brother is indeed alive, and asks how she can find his body. He points to the Center logo, but she doesn't understand. He tells her that the only person who knows where he is was the doctor who attended to them after the accident, the same doctor who came to tell her that Christopher had died. Christopher tells her where to find the doctor, but the problem is that he's in the center of the exclusion zone, which was built to prevent robots from escaping. Getting in will be almost impossible. They find a lead in New Mexico, and decide to follow it. In New Mexico, they track down a man named Keats. He is trying to sell a gun to a customer, but the customer turns on him. However, Keats has a robot named Herm, who steps in. Michelle and Christopher sneak into the vehicle, and follow them home. When they are caught, Michelle tells Keats that they mean no harm, and just want to get into the exclusion zone. Meanwhile, one of the drone hunters, known as the Butcher of Schenectady, tracks Michelle and Christopher to their location. Keats comes up with a backstory to throw him off, but it doesn't work, because the Butcher already knows Michelle's name. A fight breaks out, and they manage to escape, but their battle buries the Butcher's drone. Keats and Herm take them to their hideout, and Michelle convinces Keats to take them to Tabletop Mountain, where they can find the doctor. On the way, Keats explains how he found Herm on the battlefield, how Herm saved his life, and how they've been on the run ever since, as drone hunters have been trying to kill Herm. Elsewhere, Ethan Skate uses the Neurocaster to interact with a fabricated version of his mother, but realizes the technology is failing. His engineers inform him that Christopher is gone. They explain that, though he is physically present, he is neurologically absent. The original designer made it possible for Christopher's consciousness to escape. The engineers also warn Skate that the company will collapse in less than a week, if they don't find a solution. Skate calls the Butcher for a meeting, and orders him to retrieve the Kid Cosmo robot, containing Christopher's consciousness, promising to help the butcher recover his lost drone, in return. The group reaches Tabletop Mountain, but is ambushed, and captured by a group known as Blue Sky Acres, a shelter led by Mr. Peanuts, for robots who want to evolve beyond their human-designed roles. Mr. Peanuts apologizes for capturing them, explaining that he initially thought they were scavengers. Michelle asks about the doctor, and Mr. Peanuts admits that Drive Amherst was there, but that he sent him away, just as he is now sending them away, to avoid jeopardizing the peace treaty. Despite Michelle's protests, they prepare to leave in the morning. During the night, a robot delivers a letter that Dr. Amherst left for Christopher, in case he ever arrived. The letter contains information on how to find him, and Mr. Peanuts agrees to help them get there. When they reach the location, they find themselves in scavenger territory. They eventually meet Dr. Amherst, who reveals why he took Christopher, and where he has been. He explains that Christopher was special, and was the reason humans didn't lose the war. Dr. Amherst's robot, PC, contains all of his knowledge, and shows them footage of Christopher's comatose state, at Center's headquarters. His brain was used to link the neurocasters to the drones. After 13 months, Christopher woke up from his coma, and Dr. Amherst wanted to disconnect him, but Skate threatened to kill him. The only thing Dr. Amherst could do, was allow Christopher's mind to escape, and imprint the Blue Sky Acres location in his memory. As they discuss, they are attacked by the butcher. Mr. Peanuts fights him, while the others flee, but their escape is cut short, by flying drones sent by Skate. A battle ensues, and Dr. Amherst is killed, while Christopher is captured. The survivors return to Blue Sky Acres, only to find it destroyed. Skate takes Christopher back to Center headquarters, and begins reconnecting his mind to his body. Michelle, devastated at losing her brother again, is encouraged by Keats to go after him. They use Dr. Amherst's PC to infiltrate Center. PC reveals that disconnecting Christopher would collapse Center. Keats and Herm create a distraction, allowing Michelle and PC to enter. The distraction escalates into a full-scale battle. Michelle reaches Christopher, and uses the neurocaster to enter his mind. She finds Chris in their former home. She tells him that she has to get him out of there, and he lets her know it is not that easy. He believes everything was his fault, and since the physical connection with Center is symbiotic, the only way for Center to be stopped was for him to die. Michelle doesn't agree with him and tries to think of a different way, but Christopher tries to convince her that Center could keep him like that for 100 years, and the only way is for him to die. She takes out the neurocaster and pulls the plug on his life support, and all of Center immediately die, including the drones on the battlefield. The video of the experiment is released, and Ethan Skate is arrested. Michelle then records a video telling the world that everyone got so used to neurocasters and forgot what real life was about. Real life was about contact, and when humans hug, laugh, and hold hands, particles stay with each other, and that can only happen in the real world. Thank you for watching, guys. If you love movies, please subscribe to this channel and keep watching. Bye.